We're going to spend a moment or two now thinking about adverts, slogans, the things that stick in your head.
We've had a fun game this morning, haven't we? Kind of talking about all the slogans we remember. Apparently the top 10 most memorable have been revealed by the UK's advertising watchdog. Ben, you're taking a look at this morning.
Yeah, bit of a trip down memory lane with some of them.
Yeah.
And they've stuck around for surprisingly long amounts of time. It's so memorable, are these slogans. Let me explain, and then we'll have a little chat about some more later. Yeah, some adverts just become part of everyday life, don't they? You may quote them, you may find the jingle, the music going round and round in your head, but do they really lead to more sales? Do you remember this?
They are clearly a most primitive people. For mash, get smash.
Yeah, that one goes all the way back to the 1970s. Hasn't been on TV for years, until now, of course, but such was its impact for Mash Get Smash, makes it into the top 10 of most memorable slogans compiled by the Advertising Standards Agency. And advertising is big business. It's thought we're exposed to anywhere between 3,000 and 10,000 a day in some form or another, on TV, social media, in the paper, on the radio, perhaps on the side of a bus. And businesses spend a lot of cash in the fight to get your attention. Collectively, around £40 billion was spent on advertising last year. So, who comes out on top?
Would you like some cash back, madam?
No, thank you. I can't be bought, you know.
Tesco, every little helps.
There it is, Tesco's Every Little Helps comes in at number 1, followed closely by the slogan from the sportswear brand Nike, just do it, of course, and McDonald's, well, they will be loving that they've made the cut, rounding up the top 3. The question is, though, what is it about these slogans that makes them so good?
There is something that's definitely true of a lot of the top 10, and that's that they are catchy phrases that roll off the tongue. Think of Beanz, Meanz, Heinz, for example. You know, they've stuck the Z on the end of the 3 words. It's quite sticky. People are going to remember that. And that's a feature of many, not all, but that's a feature of many in the top 10. There's a whole heap of things that go into creating a memorable piece of advertising. It's a real art.
Oh, what?
Most of the top 10 weren't surprising to me. I think my favourite in the top 10 is probably Should Have Gone to Specsavers, which I think is a genius line and has led to so many really, really funny ads from Specsavers.
This says block 2. It's over there, mate.
We'll be chatting to an advertising expert later to hear more about that winning formula. We're going to chat Charlie Nagger as well, but let us know your favourites. Get in touch in the usual ways. We'll put the details on screen now. There are some that are in the top 10 that you would just, you'd expect to be there. Autoglass repair, autoglass replace. I thought I wouldn't sing it for you.
Well, do you think that's a good one?
Well, it's memorable. Do you
People
know?
know. People very rarely... if you were to need your windscreen replaced, that's the thing you would think of first of all, and that's the point, isn't it?
Another one in the top 10, the best a man can get.
Yes.
Gillette.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah.
We heard Beanz, Meanz, Heinz as an example in there. More reasons to shop at Morrisons. Just makes the top 10.
Yeah, it did.
But there are some that aren't in there that I'm surprised.
The old-fashioned...
Never knowingly undersold.
John Lewis.
I thought that would be in there. Live Young.
Yeah.
I think that's a very clever one. The world's favourite airline.
Do these ones that they've come up with have to be current? Okay, is this
No,
across
these
all
are just,
time?
They've asked people, what are the most memorable ad slogans?
British ones.
I think they could come from anywhere. I mean, I'm surprised Love It or Hate It isn't in there.
What's that, Marmite?
Yeah, Marmite. And maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Do you know, I didn't know.
No,
I don't think so.
You're worth it.
Maybe...
L'Oreal.
L'Oreal, that's it.
That's good. Vorsprung durch Technique. That's been going for ages.
That's
since
easy
the
for you
70s.
to say.
Well, it's not, actually.
I was thinking if we had one for breakfast, start your day the breakfast way. What do you think?
Have you been
Is that a
working
bit
on
retro?
that?
Sorry.
Have you been working on that?
No, the other one I've been working on is if we had slogans for different segments. Business, the best bit of breakfast.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, look at the tumbleweed.
You can get in touch. Do better. It's not hard. It won't be hard to do better. That's the way you can do better.
I don't think many of those ones you mentioned there will... When people get in touch, which I'm sure they will this morning, with their favourites, I don't think many of those will make it. I think there'll be lots of other much more nostalgic ones.
All because the lady loves milk tray.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Awful, but, yeah, good. Of its time.
Do some homework.
Thanks,
See you
Ben.
later.
Yeah.
6:51 is the time.
You know, we've been talking about advertising slogans today. The ones that stick in your mind. We've been going back years, haven't we? Hi, Ben.
Hello.
What people... And we asked people to get in touch.
We've had so many.
Oh, I bet it's been great.
We've had so
many. Are you
many.
going to do us like a little game or to test us, or are you just going to tell us the ones that are most popular?
I think you'll probably know them, because the reason that
They're the best games when we know the answers.
Well, of course.
You should explain why we're doing this at all. There's a list being compiled, supposedly,
Top 10
of the best.
most memorable, most effective ad slogans. Tesco, Nike, McDonald's, Heinz are among the top 10. Scott in Edinburgh got in touch and he said, if you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club.
Yeah.
One that Patricia
Also,
remembers.
there's a song attached to it. Often they work best if there's a little song. Because there was a song attached to that.
There was, but that's not always the case. The R. Whites one came up from a few people, the lemonade one. Do you remember? We've got the clip of that, actually.
R. Whites, R. Whites. I'm trying to give it up, but it's one of those nights. R. Whites, R. Whites, R. Whites lemonade. I'm a secret.
There we go, the R. Whites one. Several people mentioned that one. I'm a secret lemonade drinker. Also, I can't believe we didn't remember this when we were chatting earlier. You've been tangoed. And we've got that clip as well.
That. I didn't like it.
He's kept eyes on the big
There were
orange
whole
fella.
loads of issues surrounding this, though. Because he used to go around kind of slapping people.
Yeah, it wasn't very nice, was it?
No, so...
But memorable.
It was.
But it's the slogan that's memorable. People
Yeah.
remember, you've been tangoed. We had another one. Someone reminded us, a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play.
Yeah.
It's a good one, isn't it? And then Wake Up to Milk, that advert, with the dancing milk bottles.
was
You see,
that?
you mentioned this before. I
Yes.
have no recollection of that
when
at
was
all.
it?
Go on, look it up. Honestly, the milkman walking down the street and the milk bottles
When?
dancing behind him. About 1992. Very
remember
memorable.
that.
Wake Up to Milk. And then there are some others that people remember, like Trouble is they're too good. They taste too good. Crunchy Nut Cornflakes.
Oh, yeah.
Keep those coming in. It is fascinating, the things
It's
that
fun.
resonate over the years.
It's just fun.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks very much, Ben.
Think about adverts with slogans that have made a mark over the years.
Why?
Because there's a new survey out. Ben, you can tell us the most memorable slogans in advertising, yes?
Yes, and what's really telling us that they're not all necessarily ones that are recent. Some of the most powerful, hard-hitting, memorable ones are ones that have been with us for a long, long time. Let me reveal what this top 10 has found. Yet some adverts just become part of everyday life, don't they? You might quote them or find the jingles going round and round in your head. But do they really lead to more sales? Well, remember this.
They are clearly a most primitive people.
For mash, get smash.
Yes, even Charlie and Mag are singing along in the background in the studio. It goes all the way back to the 1970s and hasn't been on TV for years until now. But such was its impact, for Mash Get Smash makes it into the top 10 of most memorable slogans compiled by the Advertising Standards Agency. And make no mistake, advertising is big business. It's thought we are exposed to anywhere between 3,000 and 10,000 ads a day in some form or another, on TV, social media, in the paper, on the radio, even on the side of a bus. And businesses spend a lot of cash in the fight for your attention, collectively spending around £40 billion last year. So who comes out on top?
Would you like some cash back, madam?
No, thank you. I can't be bought, you know.
Tesco, every little helps.
Yes, Tesco's Every Little Helps comes in at number 1, followed very closely by the sportswear brand Nike, of course, Just Do It, and McDonald's will be loving the fact that they've made the cut, rounding off the top 3. Joining us now is Rania Robinson, the Chief Executive of the Quiet Storm Advertising Agency. Rania, very good to have you with us. What makes the difference between a memorable slogan and one that we forget?
Well, I think the ones you've mentioned there have been used for years. They're consistent slogans that appear, regularly and frequently across their advertising. Many of them have been sort of established over a period of time, but also it's the mechanics that they use. They use rhyming, they use audio sonics, so all sorts of things that are just designed to get into your head.
Are there any that don't feature in the top 10 that you were surprised weren't in there?
Well, I'm probably a bit biased, but I was surprised to not see You've Been Tangoed, because that's something that's been kind of in vernacular. It's something that people use to describe people who've maybe had a little bit too much of a tan. So that I thought would be in there. It's still being used today. It's 30 years old and the brand is still using it today.
It's interesting because so many of these adverts are of their time, aren't they? And times change. I mean, I was looking, all because the lady loves milk tray. Cadbury's dropped that because they found that people were prioritising, they felt that humour was more important than romance in a relationship.
Yeah, I think definitely kind of cultural and social kind of trends. Sometimes advertising helps shape them, but obviously we also sort of show sort of sensitivity to those things as well. And I think it's just what we are seeing, though, quite interestingly, is that a lot of these old slogans are coming back because there's a real desire for nostalgia. At the moment, it's a really strong kind of mechanic, again, for that kind of emotional connection to brands, particularly when it's sort of quite challenging to cut through across all that advertising that we're seeing every day. So if a brand's got some strong kind of emotional triggers that come from, a previous time that maybe where people might have more positive memories as well.
Should have gone to Specsavers is one. Sorry, not a reference to you. It was more one I was going to say that comes to mind that has become part of, casual conversation. I suppose that is the mark of success. What I find interesting is that successful slogans don't necessarily lead to commercial success. There are some companies and brands that have long since disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a kind of device, we know it works. We know it works for a number of reasons. One, memorability. There's a very clear brand recognition. When you hear it, you associate straight away with the brand. There's a lot of kind of emotional engagement with kind of rhymes and lyrics and music, and there's a kind of audio component to that. So when brands get it right, it can absolutely work really hard. And we often look to things that we just think of in the moment when we're in that kind of impulse decision-making process. So something that comes front of mind always helps. So yeah, there'll be probably bigger issues for the brand than their advertising, I would say, if they're still not here.
OK, Rania, thank you very much. Really interesting to get your thoughts. Rania Robinson there.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your comments of your WhatsApps and emails on advert slogans that you remember. Plenty there. Lindsay, who's watching in the Netherlands, actually, says you can't put a better bit of butter on your knife. The Country Life butter advert. Linda in Clifton remembers this one, going quite a while back. You wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. She loved the jingle. Jerry, Penny and Claire all remember Pick Up a Penguin. That is a classic, isn't it, Charlie?
Papa, pick up a penguin.
Sorry?
Papa, pick up a penguin.
Papa, pick up a penguin when you're peckish. Roundtree's fruit gums, yummy, yum, yum, 5 fruity flavours in your tum, tum, tum. That was from Tim.
That one.
Good one from Phil. I told him, Oldham. It's an old slogan for batteries, car batteries, in the 70s and the 80s.
Remember that one?
No, don't remember that one. Don't remember that one at all.
Thanks,
I'm being told I made that one up. No, I didn't. And then this one, Jane says, do you love anyone enough to give them your last Rolo?
Rolo.
Ah, yeah.
It's a nice one to end on, isn't it?
Thanks, Ben.